Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to Talking Maps, the show where we talk about maps we love with the creator of maps. Today we have a very special guest, Whargarbly, and we'll be talking about one of the most important, most beloved maps of recent times. Well, not recent times, in the history of Whargarbly, I should say, open season. Welcome, Whargarbly. How are you doing today?
I'm very nervous and good.
Oh, that's
I'm excited.
Excited, yeah, me too. I'm really excited to talk about this one. A lot of people have requested it, and yeah, I think it's really one of the most popular maps, one of the most unique as well. So this is the plan, as always. We'd like to get to know you a little bit more as a map creator, and then we'll dive deep into open season itself. So let me start with the same question I ask all the guests over here. How did you get into map making?
Oh, this is a bit of a tough one to answer, I think, actually, because when I first started playing Wargroove, I wanted to be on the competitive side of things, actually. But I was very bad at the game, so I kind of settled for map making instead. Actually, the competitive side, I did so well that I got put in the upper bracket, and then I did not do so well.
Oh,
so I said, well, I'll just focus on the creative aspect.
It sounds to me you're a bit of a perfectionist, because you were doing so well, you got put into the higher tier, and then you got knocked down. That's the impression I get. And me too. I've never wanted to be like a really high top tier player, but I enjoy making maps, and I really enjoy seeing people playing on them. So, do you by any chance remember what the first map you made was like?
Oh boy, it was terrible. It was like a 20 by 40 or something like that.
That sounds quite.
And the commanders could rush straight to the HQ and kill it without any counterplay. It was completely wild.
I'd love to see that one if you ever get a chance.
But are you perhaps talking about competitive maps?
No, like maps in general.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've had some real stinkers in the early days.
Oh yeah, we all do. I think we all do. Even one of my favorite maps I have made recently, that was featured in TYM, Half Kick Island. The first version was so bad, everyone was able to break it in.
That's a huge step, though. Getting a map in TYM. I remember my first TYM map was also.
What was your first
very
TYM
problematic.
map?
That would have been the early days of Thieves' Den. Yep, that was the first TYM map I got.
That is so cool. And you were telling me this off stream during our test, that the idea for open season, I hope we're not getting too ahead of ourselves, but that it was kind of similar to Thieves' Den, that you wanted to use like to feature a unit that was considered imbalanced or something like that.
Yes, actually, this was supposed to be. You can see a lot of river tiles in the center there. This was supposed to be a prototype for Riverfolk type map. And I don't remember exactly when the rifle came about, but it was very early. So I guess I kind of abandoned that for something else. And that's how we got where we are.
That sounds so cool, and yes, we're gonna zoom into that in a few minutes as well. But first, next question for you, as a map creator. In your opinion, what is the most fun thing about making maps?
It's really more of a vibe thing to me. I just kind of do it whenever I feel like relaxing, and I don't really focus too much on the competitive aspect of a map or what it plays like or anything like that. I usually do it as kind of like an art piece, so I guess that's the fun in it. And if it plays well, then that's just a bonus.
Oh, that's so cool. I thought you were more. I try not to judge. I'm not saying this to judge or anything, but I thought you were more methodical. No, but that sounds bad. What I'm trying to say is, I thought you were more colder in your approach. That you said, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put it there. The way we were talking the other day, you came across as a more cerebral person, but it's very cool to know you have a very vibing side to you as well.
Yeah, usually it's one or two pieces that I get an idea in my head and I put it on paper. Paper being, a map, and I try to roll with that as close as I can. And there's 1,000 concepts out there that I've done that, and it doesn't work, and that map is just dusted.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the approach.
All right, and by pieces you mean like terrain pieces or
Yeah,
features?
like you can see a lot of the terrain around that center barracks, the center bottom and top. I mean, that stuff is basically untouched from the first version of Open Season.
Yeah, definitely to the current one. And I wanted to focus on this one. Sky was saying that this is so cool to see. Wrong one. This. So cool to see such an early version of this map you just mentioned. Originally, it was going to be a little bit, quite different. Could you elaborate on that a little bit, please?
Yes. Originally, this was supposed to have a port. That obviously didn't work out too well, so it was going to be heavily Riverfolk based. I think this was back when Merfolk, as they were, they were much cheaper units and more effective, so they added a lot of problems.
Oh, what kind of problems?
They were very efficient, so you would have, an absolute army of ranged units swarming the center of the map.
With HQ so close to each other.
Just destroying everything, yeah.
That sounds like a big problem. I don't remember, or I didn't remember Riverfolk from Whargarbly 1. I barely played it, and I never played it competitively. But yeah, it would be so cool to see how that would have worked out, and if it's viable to do something like that. It's very cool to see how much it evolved from being a naval map, I suppose, to
like an proof of concept almost.
Yeah, but from something naval to the open season we know and love today. Fly Having is saying classic koi pond. Sorry.
That's actually a great point. If I can elaborate on that, I think this was one of, if not the first map to feature this type of centerpiece, where you have the, as they call it, koi pond. That was coined very early by Emo Tarquin, I think. And most maps back in the day were very heavily defense-oriented. And this was kind of like a revolution. Now, I don't want to speak and say that I'm the one who created such a thing, but this was definitely one of the first of its kind.
Iterations of it, I suppose. And yeah, it's a feature now. And in my experience, it makes maps, as you say, less defensive, more open. They give maps more interesting dynamics, because being in the controlling the center of the map is always very powerful in almost any strategy game. So you want to place your strong units there, your commander, your expensive units, but because it's a pond, your defense is really vulnerable. So that kind of dynamic works very well, I think.
Absolutely.
And but I have one more. No, yes, one more question before we get into the specific questions about open season. And that is, what is the most Whargarbly feature a map can have?
Rocks. Lots of rocks.
That's a first time anyone saying that. I apologize for the cough. But what do you mean, like rocks?
Well, so if you go back to the original concept,
all right, let's go back.
You can see that there's a little work in progress there in between the two mountains in the barracks in the top and the bottom.
Oh, deco rocks, yeah, of course.
And that would evolve into something far greater. I was still getting my rock footing, as you might call it, here.
That is so cool.
Yeah, more on that in the later versions, where I kind of found an approach to such things.
We're gonna also talk about that, of course. Chad, if you have any questions, and if you want to say anything to Whargarbly, ask about open season, now's the time. So yeah, let's see. Let's start with the questions about open season itself. And the first one, and this is something I always also ask the creator of the map because it's one of my favorite questions. I think you already partially answered this one, but let me ask: what did you want to go for when you were making this map?
Ooh, that's actually tough because I don't remember exactly why I started making this map.
Was it like a buy thing, as you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, not. I think this was my first real attempt to try to make something for TYM. I was actually very disappointed that Thieves' Den got in over this, but it still needed some time in the oven. This map, at the end of the day, it was very obvious that it was an attempt to make rifles viable without stifling anything, because they were incredibly oppressive units. So, like I said, this map is basically as old as Double Trouble itself.
And if I understand correctly, it went from like the proof of concept for the River Folk to trying to have something with rifles that wasn't too oppressive or too imbalanced.
Yep, you can see, I mean, there's still tons of river everywhere, but the rifle is right there, and there's no port in sight. So I was, like, trying to figure something out, and it just kind of shifted into open season, as it was.
That tip is crazy. You also said something really funny when we were doing the audio check. You said, oh my god, this is I don't remember your exact words, but something like an eyesore?
Yeah, I said, I think the aesthetics are the most jarring part of this.
The most jarring part, yeah. What do you think that is the case here?
These river decorations are just abysmal, I gotta say. I mean, I've come a long way, I'll just say that.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I kind of like it, and that's something we don't see very often, like bridges that long, that connect to roads, and as you say, the decorations themselves. So I see that it's a little bit too geometrical, I suppose. Was that also part of the what was jarring about it, or is it just the decals?
Maybe. Yeah, it might just be the long stretches of roads. Honestly, I've learned to kind of make those look a lot better as I went on.
Yeah, I don't know why they. In my opinion, individual tiles, individual tile bridge look really good, but when you try to make something longer or wider, it starts looking worse and worse.
I completely agree.
And I don't know why that is, but I was curious. Were you talking about like the bridge tiles or the decals themselves?
Oh yeah, the bridge tiles, the road tiles. I think it all needed work. I mean, we see a lot of currently the current bridge meta, as you might call it, is to put those long planks across it and kind of make it look like a more handmade type bridge, I guess.
Yeah, less ugly kind of.
I love that.
Oh yeah, you were the pioneer for that as well, right?
I was not actually.
No?
I might have been the one to popularize it, but I think I stole that from a very early map. This is going back a long time, and I think Faded Sun used it before too.
Oh, I thought it was you, like one of your things. And Skyro is saying, yeah, rock patterns are War's signature deco, I'd say, but he's very good at all type of decos. Also the bridge wood planks, which I've copied sometimes. I don't hide myself. Yeah, I thought I was copying you. Me too. I love those bridges, and I thought I was copying it. So cool to know. It's not like the history of that goes.
Yeah, that little decoration goes back very far.
Cool. And I think you're famous in the community for making some of the best decos. How do you feel about that?
Well, when you say that and I see this picture in front of me, I just don't understand. But I mean, when you say that, you know, Faded Sun or Skyro make the best maps, you might say that. And that's a skill, and you have to work and kind of iterate to develop that skill. I guess decorations would be kind of the same thing.
Well, that's a very interesting way to say it. Like it's a skill you develop. It's not like a. I suppose it's got to do with talent, but it's not something that you get for free. You need to work on it like everything else, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This like in the early days of my mapping, I was copying Exmo's decoration style a lot, and just kind of trying to find out or figure out my own style at the same time.
Cool.
So.
And this might be a little bit controversial, but I think what you just said, like copying someone else to develop your own things, is one of the best ways to find your own style.
Oh, absolutely. You know, people like remix maps and stuff like that, and sometimes that can be very helpful to kind of figure out a footing on what works, what doesn't, you know?
Absolutely, yes. I'm all for like making tribute maps, cover maps. I don't know how to call them, like versions. All of that is helpful for the map pool, for the community, for the creators, and it's a nice way to see that people are paying attention to your work, to what you're doing.
Yeah.
We have a ton of versions of Open Season. So,
Now we do, yeah. They kind of exploded out of nowhere, I think. We got Jungle Season and The Thing Season, I think it was.
Oh
Like
yeah, I'm working on that, but no, it's
spooky
still
Halloween version.
Yeah, I'm working on that one. But I'll tell you about it in a little bit. But yeah, it's something. And this question I love. The next question I also always ask, like all the guests, describe Open Season in 10 seconds, please. Now, now.
Rifle, shoot, spear, make knights better. Is that good?
Oh wow, and you
that
got 6 seconds to spare. You're quite efficient.
I guess I'm just that good, yeah.
Good, yeah. That was a problem in Whargarbly 1, right? Spears were too oppressive. Then if you pair them with balloons and priests, mages, sorry, that made your army slow and invincible, right?
Yeah, I don't remember if this map was around the time that spears got nerfed or not, but there was a long period of time where people were still kind of spear spamming, so to speak, and treating them as if they were unnerved, but I don't remember if they were different in this version.
Alright. Hey, Faded Son, welcome. He's saying, yeah, it's war. Eximo saying, rifle, shoot, spear, make knights better. Words of wisdom. Oh yes, we need to make that into a t-shirt or something. And then, next question for you. Oh, of course, Chad, if you want to ask Whargarbly anything, if you want to know anything about Open Season, please go ahead. Do you remember your first time playing on Open Season? Like not at a test, but like a match.
Yeah, I was there for the TYM debut, actually. I don't remember which version it was played on, but this, I mean, I actually don't remember, but I was there for it.
That happens sometimes to me as well. I haven't been playing for that long, and I go back to the Grove of War channel and I see some matches and I see my name on them and I say, I don't remember this game, and I just played it like 3 months ago, and I watch it and I start remembering and say, oh yeah, I was thinking this, I was doing that. So I think it's completely
try 3 years ago at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That happens to me like 3 months in. 3 years in would be quite the same, I suppose. So that's okay. And what was the most influential or who was the most influential map maker or map idea that helped you conceive Open Season?
I have to give it up to Faded Son. I drew a lot of inspiration across a lot of my early mapping in general to 19 by 19, actually.
Oh, that's so cool. I thought you were gonna say Headland, and we were gonna go with the Headland is like, what is the meme? Headland is the father of all maps.
Oh, yeah, all maps evolve into Headland
all
eventually.
Maps. Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. Why 19 by 19?
I don't know. I think it was just a very... I'm gonna say it's a very basic map. I mean, it's very Faded Son to make something that just works.
He said that himself.
I loved that map when I first started playing. I don't know why, but I mean, a lot of people did.
Yeah,
So I drew a lot of inspiration from that.
Well, absolutely. You said it's got something that it doesn't look that weird or that impressive, but it's got something. And yeah, the first time I played it, I said, "Oh, that's a very cool map," and I immediately wanted to play it again. And I ended up playing like 4 games on that, and I said like, no, this is not as simple as I thought. There must be something about it I'm not understanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I think, well, chat, do you have any questions, or should we move on to the close analysis? Basic Faded Sun. Basic bitch mapper. Basic. I guess
I did watch the Faded Sun stream where I think the defining feature of a faded map was to have no defining features or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's so funny. And everyone said, yeah, that's definitely Faded's characteristic, Faded's trait, superpower. So, onto the special questions that were sent to you. And we have XMO's questions. And the first one, he said it's a question, but I don't know. He just said, Deco, copy pasta.
Absolutely.
What's that?
Yes. I don't know. I'm for it though. Yep. I think maybe he's saying, boy, I wish that there was a way to copy this set of rocks and put it somewhere else.
Oh, that makes sense.
I gotta agree.
Oh, and I have thought that so many times. Yeah, me too. I have to agree. It would be so cool to be able to share, like little, I don't know, presets or like configurations that you could put around everywhere. And he said, he specifically said you'd understand and you'd be able to explain what it means.
You might be giving me too much credit. It says cop out.
Yeah, I think that'd be great, and it would make making maps a lot faster. I remember you told me that sometimes you spend more time on the decals themselves than on the map design, the terrain, things like that.
Yeah, those rocks they're really something, I tell you what. Like I said, that little rock formation there doesn't look like much, but it became a real doozy after a couple versions. And sometimes you can spend a lot of time decorating a map. A lot more time than it takes to just place, some tiles.
Place some tiles, yeah, exactly. And I'm remembering what you said at the beginning of the stream, that it's like a vibe. I love listening to music while I make my maps. And me too, I usually make maps or I'm the most productive at making maps. After I worked all day, if I'm tired, I use it to re-energize myself. And I love listening to music. And yeah, sometimes I just spend like half an hour or hours sometimes just placing little flowers, planks.
Yeah.
Flags.
I think a lot of map makers in Whargarbly and probably across many genres and definitions, they actually pull inspiration from music a lot of the time.
What do you listen to?
Faded,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I know Faded Sun and Exmo, and actually myself, we all have maps that are named after musical inspiration. So.
What is your map name after a musical inspiration?
That would be Paradise Lost.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was thinking the romantic text, but it's so cool that it's like a music reference. And that was gonna be my next question. What do you listen to when making maps?
Yeah, mostly heavy metal, I guess, and just I say heavy metal, but kind of the more chill side of it.
The chill side of it?
Yeah, progressive type stuff. Stuff that I used to listen to in high school, actually. I guess it's more of a nostalgic type thing. So.
Oh, that is so cool. I
guess
love
it lends itself to the vibe session.
Yeah, prog rock in particular resonated with me. I like it. I don't listen to that a lot, but when I feel like I need to concentrate or I'm feeling very I need to do something logical or something like that, I usually listen to prog rock. So I think it makes sense that you do it too. like focus in on making maps.
Yeah,
We have
it's like lo-fi almost.
like what? Sorry, lo-fi?
Like lo-fi, yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I love lo-fi playlists. And we have some very cool comments coming out of chat. Exmo is saying it's the screenshot quote from our DMs that really needs to take off more.
The deco copy pasta, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, I hope that becomes a thing. And Exmo saying Mori 2 with CAFO at least. What does that mean?
CAFO was a musically inspired map.
Oh, I didn't know that. I need to do more research on that, like maps that are named after a song or bands or something like that. And Animals as leader song. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'll check it out after the stream. And he's Faded Sun is saying he has other music references I've caught before. It'd be really cool to see if we could make something like a show or at least a little collection of music references, and we can put them together and talk about them in one of the streams. That'd be so cool.
There'd probably be a lot of them, honestly.
Yeah, and very varied, I suppose. Let me see. Next question for you from Exmo. Do you think the current meta has an impact on your deco choices, or do you let your deco choices define the meta?
Let's see here. Actually, you know what? There's something funny to be said about that, because back in Whargarbly 1, I really wished that there was a tile quite like Cut Forest is, and we didn't have something like that. So I would kind of decorate to simulate something like that sometimes. And
like
then
little tree stuffs.
yeah, and now we have that.
I
guess
remember
that's the best that I can answer that.
That is so cool. I didn't. You said the trends. You said the meta. I had forgotten that we didn't have cut forest in Whargarbly. That's a Whargarbly 2 thing. So yeah, I hope there is something like more. I don't know how to say it. Like a different kind of road, or a different kind of flagstone that would give no defense but keep the same like movement rules. That'd be very cool to see as well. Like, it doesn't give you like +2 defense, but you can't move wheels or flying units over it.
Yeah, I mean, Cut Forest is basically the tile that I wished that we had, except it was 2 defense in my vision. So it was kind of like Flagstone, but less harsh for vehicles.
Yeah, that was pretty close. Wish your wish came true, I suppose.
It was close.
All right, next one. Also from Exmo. When designing a map, how early in the process do you start planning your decos? That's such a cool one.
That is interesting, but I have a very boring answer for you, and that is that I don't plan any decos until I'm done with the actual map.
All right. I think that's been consistent with the other guests. They say, like, first they work on the functional parts, and then they start to look at how to make the map look pretty. Is that similar to what you're saying?
Yeah, I will say that for the most part, people won't fully decorate their maps in the testing and beta phase, whereas I usually will, and I'm not afraid to trash a map completely after spending hours on decorations if it's bad, you know. But that is a different aspect.
If it's bad, it's bad. Oh, but you
if
still
it's
take
bad,
the
it's
time.
bad.
You still take the time to decorate it, right?
Yep, I gotta make it look good at least.
It's bad, but it looks good, at least. All right.
Polished turd.
Polished turd. Next question from XMO. What's your inspiration for finding the right terrain to be decode? That's very cool, and I think you already answered part of it with the cut forest styles.
Yeah, what was the question again? That's
oh, sorry. What's your inspiration for finding the right terrain to be decode?
Huh. I guess he means
like where you put your decos?
Developing new decorations?
Oh, I don't know. What's your inspiration for finding the right terrain to be decode? Exmo, if you're there, please.
Please elaborate.
Elaborate on this. I thought he meant something like where you decide to put your decos at, like what tiles you leave or like clear and which ones you put your decos on. But it could also be what you were saying. Well, in the meantime, we have a few. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, back in the day, I was a bit of a deco spammer, as it were. If there was like a 4x or a 2x2 that wasn't decorated in any aspect, I mean, that was just unacceptable. I've cut back quite a bit since then, but it is funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah, because I think your maps. What makes your maps look so good is that, yeah, the decos are beautiful, but they feel clean. They don't feel like it's too much or they're cluttered or it's anything like that. No, they look very easy to read, clean, well organized, I suppose. So it's funny that you went from saturating like the whole map on decos and then finding your balance, I suppose.
I think Exmo answered, so...
Oh, cool. How do you think of what terrain is the right terrain to use? What if it's not deco-friendly?
I mean, they're all deco-friendly as far as I'm concerned. I remember I used to avoid carpet to flagstone, but it turned out that I just didn't really know what to put there. And I kind of figured it out over time, but I don't think any of my major maps have featured carpet yet, so... that came later.
That is true, and why is that? What do you think about carpet, or is it how it makes the map look, or how it makes you feel?
Yeah, I think the basic flagstone is like really easy to decorate. It blends in well with the grass and the rocks and stuff like that, the stones, arches, basically anything. But the carpet, when you put grass on it, it looks completely wrong. So you have to kind of shift your flagstone decoration style to put it on carpet.
That makes a lot of sense. The first impression I got from carpet is that it looks like, well, and I think that's what they were going for, like the inside of a castle, like the path the king would follow when entering the castle and like all the way to his throne. So I almost never use carpet on my maps. But I try to use like the little armors or the swords that we have.
Yeah, the sword rack.
The sword rack, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because as you were saying, like if you put something like plants or something natural looking, it's not going to be very...
Yeah, Faded Sun is saying that he's never been able to really use carpet because it doesn't look right.
Oh yeah. And Exmo saying he's used it a couple of times.
Carpet. I think Exmo used it on Oblivion, which was also a Groove of War 3 map, I think. I might be mistaken on that.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, I don't remember like any map featuring like a memorable
carpet aesthetic.
Carpet tile or carpet aesthetic. Yeah, exactly. That's
Cloak and Dagger. That might be what I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah, and they used the sword rack, I think, if I remember correctly.
That's a classic. We got Spear and Axe Rack in Wargroove 2. Big upgrade.
And I have never used them. I'm gonna start using them. I like how they use it in Cloak and Dagger. I think it's the one where they put it like next to the barracks, so it looks like they like the little soldiers grab the weapons as they come out, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. Maestro, welcome. CND has a pretty cool carpet next to a rocks, right? Oh yeah, absolutely. That's Cloak and Dagger we're talking about. And we have one more question from Eximo. He says about open season. But map. It's not a question, just relevant commentary.
He's true. He's absolutely true. I don't think there's ever been a map that isn't ARG bad map. That's an inside joke going a long way back too.
All right. What does it mean?
Just I guess it's just a crap post, you know? Like, all maps are bad, and they all go back to XMO. He's much like Headland is the father of all maps, XMO is the father of all headlands.
And so every map is a bad map.
Every map is a bad map, and it's all XMO's fault.
Oh no, XMO, why you're like this, XMO? All right, so let's dive deeper into the different versions. We start with this one. This is the first version. It's called Open Time. Could you elaborate a little bit on that? Was that the original title, or why is it Open Time?
Yeah, I'm gonna blow this wide open. The file names are completely junk. Okay. They have no bearing at all on anything.
Good to know.
I think... I'm really trying to rack my brain for what this map was called before it was open season, but...
It had another name?
It did. I just can't remember what it was. I wish I did. I can't really offer anything on that.
No, don't worry. If it comes back to you, we'll love to know. And then we have... well, we already talked about... this, like, the original concept was supposed to be a Riverfolk map, isn't it? Is there anything else you'd like to add to this one?
Yeah. I just want to say the Koi Pond was pretty inspired. You know?
Oh yeah, and it's still...
That's a classic piece nowadays.
Absolutely still relevant, still very cool. And it's very funny that we're talking about this because it's, I think, relevant regarding gameplay and also regarding deco. It looks good and it plays, or it helps the game a ton by making it a little more volatile where it needs to be, I think.
Absolutely.
Alright, and we have... well, you said it just, the names don't have much bearing, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about this? And maybe we can quickly compare it to the first version. Like, this is the first version, and this is Yeah.
So, that map was after some testing with XMO, and after, I believe it got denied for TYM, and the major feedback was, cut back on the rivers mostly, and I said, well, that's a little disappointing because the original proof of concept, but as time would go on, I mean, the rivers were completely, outdated anyways. So this was kind of a piece working towards the drying up of open season, I guess. Yeah, closed season was a common joke back then.
Yeah, dry season, I suppose. I love river tiles, but sadly, I don't know what was the feedback in that case, but they tend to make fights really volatile and not very fun, right? You lose your units too fast, or what was the problem back then with rivers?
No, it's mostly what Mastro was saying. I mean, it just locks down so much movement. The knights and golems, well, golems used to be fine, but knights can't go anywhere on a river tile. Even infantry gets punished really hard. And then if you stand next to a river tile, that's far more dangerous in a lot of cases than standing in a river tile somehow.
Oh yeah,
for CO specifically.
Yeah, the swords. Suicides are really powerful to find lethals. Alright, so, and then we have the next one. I think this is version 1. At least the file said it was open season version 1 from Whargarbly, I suppose. Do you remember this one?
This must be whenever it got into TYM. The
that's
first
so cool.
operatable version. And I think this is pretty darn close to what was played for a grand majority of the entirety of Wargroup 1. I can't really see anything that stands out that's different, so it might just be kind of the finalized version. Yeah,
it's really similar to our modern version as well. It's not exactly the same, but it's very easy to recognize that the openings, the patterns are going to be basically the same.
Yep.
Cool. What about decos in this one? Because that's something I noticed when I was making the presentation. There's a big jump between Ayaya and deco-wise between Ayaya and like version 1.0. you were talking about the rocks, and I think this is a good moment to focus in on that. What do you think?
These rocks, they were really something, I tell you. I was proud. I was very proud. And, I mean, it kind of almost marked the beginning of my personal style of decoration.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all there yet, but that rock piece was definitely indicative of kind of like a graduation almost.
Cool.
From copying Exmo style to becoming something that I could call my own.
That is so cool. What, copying Exmo style and your own? What do you mean?
So, like I said, I drew a lot of decoration inspiration from Exmo. We used to kind of trade secrets back and forth, actually, in DMs about like rock formations and other pieces. We still do that sometimes today, but so a lot of my early decorations were kind of like emulations of his.
Mm-hmm. And this is your graduation. This is where you found your style.
Like a personal style, yeah.
That is so cool. And why are you so like particularly proud about rocks? And yeah, I have to say I love the little trails. Especially this
no
one
clue. I just think they look great.
Cool answer. Let's see the chat. When everyone loved knights. Do you have any questions? Oh yes. Oh my God. Exmo's rock formations, says Maestro.
Yeah, Mastro has done a couple pixel perfect recreations of some XMO, well, an XMO map and one of my maps. So he's every bit the master that we are by proxy.
He's a rock expert as well.
Yep.
All right, and then we have the current. This is current version, I think. Wait. Oh yeah, this is our current Whargarbly 2 version, isn't it?
Yep.
What has changed? What is new? What about your decorations, your style in this like modern version?
The flagstone decoration came a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the plank bridges. I mean, I started to incorporate those in a lot of maps. Basically anywhere that I thought it, the horizontal bridge could use one.
Mm-hmm.
The rock formation in between the mountains got slimmed down. I don't remember if I was too lazy to recreate it pixel by pixel or if I just wanted to kind of respin it. But
we could go over that to see if well, the plans
Mastro
are...
says the cut forests make this the best version of the map. I gotta agree. I think the cut forest underneath that village was slightly inspired.
The one underneath the village?
To the left of player 2.
Uh-huh.
Player 2's CO, and then up a little bit.
Oh yeah, found it. Yeah, that one. Yeah, it really makes the like little villages come alive. You see, we're talking about telling stories with Faded Sun and also with Skyro, and I think those cut trees do that as well. They're like a terrain feature, but they also let you know that the little world, is alive. People go out and chop wood.
Yeah. I love using cut forest as a bit of night hate, personally, but they're also pretty good for decoration, I will say.
Night hate. Oh yeah. And Mike Master said something. Oh yeah, 2 million hours to copy pixel perfect. And the cut forest make this the best version of the map. Exmo was also saying, and if I cannot do 2 million pixel perfect rock placements, I will do 3 million fallen logs. And if I cannot do 3 million fallen logs, I will do 4 million flower patches. That sounds like a music reference.
That's the creed.
yeah. Alright. And I wanted to ask you something else about this one. Well, about decorations in general. How do you manage, or maybe I should ask first, if you have a burnout when decorating, because I see they're so specific, so tiny. There's so many of them, and everyone is saying that they're taking hours and hours to copy paste what you did, or just to do their own decorations. How do you manage that? Do you get tired, or is it the opposite?
Yeah.
Is it energizing for you?
Usually this stuff takes place over weeks. I mean, I sit down and I maybe look at it, and I look at it, and I stare at it for a long time, and then maybe I make a decoration piece or something like that, and then I close the game.
Stare for 3 hours, place a rock, come back next week.
It's definitely not like super hard work, but it is a lengthy process, especially when you try to make something look as good as possible.
And you make it good, make it look as good as possible. Everyone can agree.
I like to try to.
All right. So that is the current version. And then why don't we talk a little bit about the new versions or meme versions? And we can start with Jungle Season. What do you think about it? I think Sechon would be very happy to hear what you have to say about Jungle Season.
Well, as you can see here, there's no meaningful decorations anywhere on this map.
Sechon, how dare you?
Yeah, I know. He's got a couple. I'll give him credit. But seriously, I think we talked about this, and I believe actually you said that the stream talked about this in a replay. But I feel like when the rifle doesn't exist on this map, it sorely lacks the rifle. Like,
oh yeah,
someone miss it.
Who remembers that? People were saying that. Well, Exmo was saying very true. But do you remember if they meant like the balance is off, or if it gets stale?
Yeah, like it feels like you can't push as well almost. Or it's strange because rifle is a pretty defensive type unit, but it feels like it is key to all of your offense as well.
Yeah, at least on this map. On this map, it feels like wherever you put the rifle, you're gonna make like a line towards that point, so you have like an opening or a potential opening, right?
Yeah, you're pushing a big swath through something, probably. The frog does something similar, but on a very much smaller scale. So.
However, I saw really cool lethals and plays in general. Sorry. With night crits especially. I think frogs are really cool. It's a really cool way of doing that. Also snatching or making mages go further away and getting like hits on harpies or dragons. That's also a very cool feature.
Yeah, finding their way into forests that they couldn't get into for a crit, stuff like that.
Oh yes, we need a frog rifle hybrid of some kind that can shoot and lick units at the same time.
Yeah, personally I love the frogifying of these classic maps, but I think this one probably is the weakest, I would say.
Oh, okay, that's a very interesting point. I loved it, I really liked it, but I'm not good enough to get to like staley maps, game stages. I usually lose during the early game, maybe mid game, so
that's kind of my map maker curse too. Is I'm not good enough to actually like test whether a map stalls out or not.
Yeah, how far? Like into the late game, how it works into the late game, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Sechon, good job, but more decos, please. Just kidding. No, I thought it was a very, very cool concept, a very fun map. And then, I want to ask your opinion on this mess, the Thing season. This is what I'm working on, and it's really, I don't know
so,
how to say.
If I'm not mistaken, the Flaming Rax produces swords, right?
Oh yeah, it only produces swords, and originally it was like a mixed base. So red is on the like red things or like zombie racks is on the bottom left, and blues is on the top right. And yeah, the idea is that you flood swords into the opponent's side, and you get to stop them with the rifle because it's really near there. That's how it works out in my head. But no, it's really easy to just push with the commander and flood HQ in like 6 turns with just swords.
It is a bit of an unfortunate byproduct of, I think, like the layout of the map. I don't know exactly how you would make this work perfectly, but I do like the concept though. It is funny.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that movie, and I would love to see thingified swords running around. What I'm working on now is instead of having them on the bottom left and top right corners, I'm trying putting them instead of the rifle here, and I'm putting rifle on top of the mountain, so that the swords would take longer to go out, and we have like a proper zombie horde coming from like behind the HQ or something like that. I don't know if it's gonna work, but that's what I'm at right now.
I mean, keep me posted. It's a very interesting concept for sure. Did this was this played at all? Did this have any test matches?
Oh, just not on TYM or anything like that. Just with friends.
But it does have like
lobbies.
replays.
Yeah, would you like to see one?
I'd be very interested to have some of those codes, anyways.
Cool. Yeah, let me look for them. I must have them around still. But yeah, no. Basically, it sucks. But yeah, I would love to make it work.
We've all been there.
Definitely. Yeah, that's something I really like about like bringing you guys and talk about this, because sometimes it feels very lonely. Like you say, "Oh my God, this is never gonna work. This is so shitty. This is bad," and you see that everyone is going through the same, or has gone through the same process, the same failures, the same success as well. So it's very inspiring to see you're not alone in this as a map maker.
Yeah, most of my maps don't make it to even see the public light of day, to be honest. I think I posted 2 recently that were more like naval inspired or focused. And those are bad. Those are not good, but I did feel like posting them anyways, so they're there.
I haven't had a chance to play those, but I love them. I love how they look, and I love that it's like naval and land combat almost like really close to each other. I would love to play more of that. I feel that it hasn't been explored enough in Wargroup 2. Now with the recent changes to ships, I think it would be worthy to try using those again in our map designs.
Yeah.
All right. So before we move on to the next version, you mentioned that most of your maps don't make it to see the light of day. What do you mean? What percentage, or how many Whargarbly maps have we missed so far?
It's in the dozen. It's in the dozens for sure. You got Eximo in here. You got Faded Sun. I think Mastro has probably seen a few that never even became anything more than concepts.
And what percentage would you say you discard, or you don't make it to see the light of day, as you were saying?
90% probably.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That happens. Yeah.
Like we said earlier, if it sucks, it sucks, and then you throw it out. But it's just something to like keep the mind busy, and then maybe have some fun on, maybe not.
Absolutely, yeah. The main point is having fun and having a good map where everyone else can also have fun, I think. And how do you feel about that? Like seeing so many people enjoying open season, saying so many good things about it.
Yeah, the reward of a good map is worth its weight in gold compared to all the bad maps that you have to throw out. I think open season was for a time one of the most highly rated maps in the pool, actually, and that was very nice.
Definitely, yeah, it's very rewarding to see when people enjoy your map, because you're never sure, right? You're always thinking, is it really good? Does it suck? Are people just playing it because they already signed in, or are they really enjoying it? At least that happens to me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a, what do you call it? Like a complex, I guess.
Yeah, the imposter
Or
syndrome, I
imposter
suppose.
syndrome. Yep, imposter syndrome. That's the one.
And it's very relieving to know that even you, such an experienced and amazing maker, can have imposter syndrome sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it happens to all of us, I think. All right, and I think we have come. I think now it's a perfect time to talk about a very important announcement you have for us, Whargarbly.
Yes, this is the exciting version, or the exciting part of the stream.
Oh my god.
I don't know if you're gonna drum roll or what, but
We have
a new version. Yep.
A new version, open season final. Are you ready? Chat, help me count. 3, 2, 1. Open season final. Chat, you have 10 seconds to point out all the new things you can find before Whargarbly walks us through them. Fly Hyping is looking at it. Flower Field says Faded Sun. Fly Hyping loves his.
Everybody's focused on the important aspect. I'm glad to see.
Oh yeah, the pretty things. All right, tell us about it. I'm so excited. I'm so happy to see this.
It doesn't shake up much. The commanders are lower health, and there's a new cut forest. And I took the one away from the HQ, but I don't think that matters. So, those are the changes.
All right, let's go.
It's mostly a redecoration.
Well, let's talk about the important thing, as you said, the redecoration. I see more flowers. I see more rocks and plants. Why did you choose flowers? Let's start talking about those. I love flower fields. Why did you go for flowers here?
These are incredibly complex decorations. I love them to pieces, actually. You can choose a biome that's called Flower Field, and it'll just auto-generate them. But there's something... I just love placing these things.
Oh, so this is not Flower Field? It's manually...
No, it's Deep Forest.
Wow.
So, you can put them pretty much anywhere, and they don't add much visual clutter. It might look like it on the screen preview, but when you're actually looking at the map in-game, it's quite nice to look at.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, probably my favorite decoration that got added, actually.
Like the different kinds of flowers?
Yeah.
We have a ton of them. Me too, I love flowers. It's very funny because I think most of you know by now, I'm Mexican, and I love Mesoamerican culture. And funnily enough, in Mesoamerican culture, flowers are a symbol of war and death. So they work perfectly for something like this, like a strategy map. So I don't know why they chose to add so many flower decos. I think it's great. And I was going to ask you, does it have to do anything to do with like history or any like outside reference? Why flowers on a war game or war map?
No, I just think it just adds something. Like, it's kind of like when you trim a wall with the you know, the base piece of a wall. It makes it just, it really pulls it together, decoratively speaking. It's kind of the same concept. You just splash a little bit of this. Well, I say a little bit, but it's clear I went overboard here. I was really having fun with this one.
Yeah, it looks like a ton of fun, and you were overboard in the best possible way, I think.
But yeah, I mean, they're simple, they look good, and that's pretty much all I have to say about it.
Cool. And what about the flagstone decorations? Those are also new. And we have some pretty little trees on the top left and some columns, I suppose, on the bottom right.
Oh, those are columns on the top left as well.
Oh, yeah, I see now. Yeah, sorry, I didn't see the other ones. Why did you go for those? I almost never see the little trees there.
It's kind of like, I guess you could say like a jail cell type bars. I mean, because vehicles can't go that way, so it kind of fits the aesthetic.
That is so good.
Naturally speaking.
Yeah, to see it like that, like a barrier for vehicles. I never thought about it, but yeah, that's I think I'm going to steal from you to use those trees or the columns to like.
It's all open source.
Oh yeah. To prevent vehicles from going there. Let's see what chat has to say. Oh, a ton of things. Flower field, better koi pond. What about the koi pond? The koi pond. What did you change about it?
There's a lily pad in there.
And why are people saying it's better?
It just looks better.
It does.
These little seaweed type decorations you can use to add, like you can make anything a water decoration with these if you try hard enough. So that, if you squint at the top right corner of the koi pond, that's a grass flower piece, and it doesn't look right at all if you just slap it in a river. But if you put the seaweed around it, suddenly it's a river decoration.
Yeah, also those are like land flowers, right? They're not like the ones you found on lily pads normally.
Right, yeah.
Well, that's another very cool thing to try out on my next decos, to make everything. How did you say it? Like to make everything a water deco with a.
Yeah, you can really make anything a water deco if you try hard enough. for the most part. For the most part, you know.
Yes, Whargarbly wisdom is strong with us today. Alright, I love it. And also the grass. No, sorry, the seaweeds, or what are those called? The ones on the bottom left and top right. We see the river tiles really full of them. I really like that.
Yeah, those were actually, you can see that in early versions of the map from going back to Whargarbly 1, I think.
I was gonna say that it's like in your older maps. Let me bring up the other one. Yeah, like this one, like the one from Whargarbly 1. That's gonna bring back a lot of people. Some good memories. So, why did you decide to go for that?
That was just a piece that I was very fond of back then. When I ported this map to Whargarbly 2, I did kind of a quick and dirty decoration. So some of it wasn't, up to. It wasn't like it was diligently crafted. It was more of like I'm gonna put this out and ship it type deal. So this was me going back and kind of correcting some of those things that were more hastily done.
Cool. Yeah, I think sometimes it's worth it to put it out like as fast as possible, to see that everything's working out, to see if you still like it or not, and then if you do, then yeah, you can go back and work on it to make it look even better. Mr. Cat is saying he loves the skeletons on the mountains. What's the story there?
The bones on the mountain are really funny because I think they just fit the geometry really well. And it looks very natural for some reason, even though it's just giant bones on top of a mountain.
Golem-sized bones or something.
Yeah, and these are... I mean, I like adding bones in the center, just in general. I think a lot of map makers do this, where it's like kind of a death zone type vibe.
Absolutely,
Start slapping skulls and bones around.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever I make a mixed base, or whenever I have like a death zone in a map, I toss around a ton of little skeletons.
Yep.
Alright. What about the new cut forest tiles? I see and those will have an impact on the gameplay. Someone said screw your knights, maestro.
Yeah, absolute. This makes the initial knight coming out of the CO Rex very different, actually. Maestro, ever the critic, he's saying he already doesn't like it. Well, we'll see. We'll see, but, it's kind of... All these changes can be reverted, except for the decoration, of course.
Those are non-negotiables.
Yep.
And how do you think that is going to impact gameplay? Because it's only the night, right?
The CO's slower too. I think this will make the CO push a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot slower in general, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll be honest with you. So I'm interested to get the feedback on that.
Absolutely worth checking out. All right, let's see what else we have. What this chat wants to say. Faded Sun, I'm glad they kept a lot of my Whargarbly 1 maps because I'll drag the file over into Whargarbly 2. When I want to port it, change it for Whargarbly 2. Do you have any maps from Whargarbly 1 that haven't been ported that you want to port over?
Uh-oh. We're gonna get the Thing Ouroboros, perhaps?
Alright, could you tell us a little more about it?
No, I'm just poking fun.
Oh, so that's Faded Sun's answer. And yeah, anything else you would like to go over about this map? The new version of Open Season?
I think that pretty much covers it. I'm not exactly a competitive mind or anything like that, so I can't really speak to the strengths or the weaknesses of the map or anything, you know, super intellectual. Have to have somebody on here with more skill than me to talk about that stuff, but the decorative process, you know, it shows, this map in particular shows a great aesthetic journey, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely, that's a really good way of putting it. Aesthetic journey, the evolution of your deco style, going from saturating to keeping it simple to saturating it again in a more effective,
in a more tasteful,
more tasteful way. Yeah, it shows. It shows. And that is the last question I love asking all the guests here. What is the future of Open Season, or what do you want the future of Open Season to be?
Well, maybe you're looking at it right here. You know, this is a technically different version. I will keep on iterating, I guess, and if it's bad, then I'll revert, but if it's not, then this might be the future right here.
Great, glad to hear you're willing to reiterate, to change, and also to go back if it doesn't work. I think that's a map maker's journey, like, you're never gonna, first of all, please yourself or please everyone. You're not gonna make a perfectly balanced map. I think it's just about finding the map that makes you the happiest, or the map that works the best, in your opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to make the map that you want to make first and foremost, and if you can make it a good map, then by all means. And if not, you know, sometimes you don't have to be afraid to just throw it away.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to throw away my maps.
It's definitely, it's tough.
Yeah, I know, but it works for you. I mean, it's worked really well for you. You've been able to make some of the most memorable and overall best maps, best looking maps, best playing maps in both Whargarbly 1 and 2. So it works. Definitely works for you. All right. Cool. So that was very fun. Thank you so much, Whargarbly. Is there anything else you would like to tell the fans?
Thank you for having me. I mean, this was a bit of a shake-up. Been incredibly nervous throughout the whole thing, but it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Kind of sitting up here and chatting about decorations.
Yeah, we gotta do it again. And before we leave, it's tradition that you choose the next guest, and you can give one or two options if you want to. Who are you thinking about? What map are you thinking about?
You know that I have to try and get Eximo up on the podium.
Eximo. Are you up for it?
If you can't, then I'll try and find something else.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Any map in particular, or should we let Eximo decide?
Let's do Cloak and Dagger.
Cool. Oh, that'd be so cool because it's also so closely related to what we were saying, and we'll see examples of like the same ideas for decorations, but from another perspective, I suppose. Yeah, great choice.
So. Cool. I wonder if Eximo is here right now, if he can confirm or deny that
I don't want to put pressure on him. Well,
Yeah.
yes, I will
Well,
send him
we
the
can figure
invitation.
it out.
We'll do that. So, thank you so much, Whargarbly. Thank you, everyone in chat. That was very, very fun. See you next time with another map.